I was reborn as a tiny sapling in a primitive world, pelted in the face by bird droppings every single day. Yet thousands of years passed just like that, and over those millennia, I grew from a little seedling into a towering giant. I figured life would stay just as dull as before, until the day I saved a primitive man. 3 months passed since I rescued him. One day, a commotion jolts me awake. A crowd of men, women, young and old, all clad in animal hides, has gathered at the base of my trunk. I'm still puzzling over where they came from, when the very man I once saved steps out from the crowd. He walks up and drops to his knees. Staring up at the sacred tree, he starts babbling away, bowing his head to the ground as he speaks, and everyone behind him follows suit. After a while, he finally falls silent, but he and the entire crowd stay kneeling on the ground for a long time, none of them rising. At first I'm baffled, but it dawns on me soon enough. I rustle my leaves to make a sound, and the moment they hear it, everyone scrambles to their feet, erupting in wild, jubilant cheers. I can't understand a word of their language, but their joy is infectious. I'm happy too, and so the group sets up camp near the base of my trunk and makes their home here. I begin watching these people who have settled around me. The man I once saved seems to be their leader, and he often heads out with a band of men to hunt. Whenever they return to camp with game, he carves out the creature's heart and places it at the base of my trunk. At first I have no idea what he's doing, but it eventually clicks. This is a ritual offering, and the heart is the sacrifice. To these primitive people, the heart of their kill is the most precious thing they have, which is why they offer it to the sacred tree. After each ritual, they never take the hearts away. They just leave them sitting at the foot of my trunk. My bark has a peculiar quality. No insects will come near. So over time, the hearts simply dry out in the open air. I find the sight of all those desiccated hearts rather unsightly, so I coax my roots to grow upward until they break through the soil. From there, I can use the roots to drag the shriveled hearts down into the earth. When the tribe sees their offerings vanish, it causes quite an uproar. The man immediately drops to his knees before me with his people, bowing their heads over and over, and only when I rustle my leaves do they finally rise, visibly relieved. The offerings continue as before, and I quietly bury the hearts in the ground each night. After this happens a few times, the tribe grows used to it, and their reverence for me only deepens. Every so often, led by their chief, the whole clan gathers for a grand ceremony in my honor. I watch them for several years and eventually learn their language, no more worrying about missing what they say. At yet another ceremony, the man I once saved leads his people to gather beneath my branches. From their conversations, I learn that his name is Yanfeng. These primitive people have no family names, only given names. When a child is born, they glance around, pick something they see, tweak it slightly, and that becomes the name. Yanfeng's name means the peak to the east. Yanfeng steps forward and raises a heart he has just cut from a wild boar. As he presents the offering, he speaks prayers for the sacred tree's protection, asking for more game, asking to be kept safe, asking me to watch over the newborns and the frail elders. I listen and shake my branches inwardly. These people really do pile everything onto me. I had no idea I was supposed to be that capable. Then again, some of their requests I can actually deliver. Take warding off sickness. Thanks to my natural ability to repel insects, the people living beneath me genuinely don't fall ill very often. 10 years slip by in a flash. The clan living under my branches has grown steadily, from just over 30 people to around 50. Then one day the hunting party returns early, but they aren't carrying game. They're carrying Yanfeng. He has grown old, and in a battle with a cheetah, he has lost his life. His people bury him not far from the base of my trunk. Yanfeng is gone. A stronger man takes his place as chief, a man called Tiemu. Though the chieftain has changed, the devotion to me never wavers. If anything, the rituals grow even more frequent. One day, after a ceremony, I suddenly sense something new stirring inside me. It's not insects boring into my wood. It's a force, something I can feel and control. The force is faint. I can sense it, but I have no idea what to do with it. I experiment for a while and get nowhere. Then after another ceremony, I notice the force has grown a little stronger. Prayer energy. Could that be what this is? The thought crosses my mind. It grows after every ceremony, so maybe that's exactly what it is. I keep studying it and eventually become certain. This force is born from the faith of my followers. The only problem is no one has ever taught me how to use it, so I have to figure it out on my own. I try channeling the energy into one of my branches to see what happens. As it flows in, I watch with disappointment. Nothing seems to change, and since I don't have much to begin with, it's quickly used up. I shelve the idea for now. A while later, the energy is built up again, so I try once more. This time I pour in more than before, and gradually I notice something. The branch I've filled with energy looks different from the others. A tiny pointed bud has appeared at its tip. I know it's no ordinary bud, and as it slowly swells, I finally understand what it is. A flower bud. A flower is going to bloom. I'm stunned. I've been this tree for at least several hundred years and have never once bloomed. I assumed I simply wasn't capable of it. Apparently I was wrong. My curiosity piqued. I pour every last drop of accumulated prayer energy into the bud. I want to see what kind of flower blooms, and whether it will bear fruit. The bud swells little by little. I keep it tucked among the leaves, invisible from below, and since the primitive people never climb on me, I'm not worried about being spotted. A full year passes. My entire focus has been on that one flower. After 12 solid months of nurturing, I can tell it's finally ready to bloom. With a soft, gentle sound, the flower opens. It's a pure white blossom. 5 petals fanning out around the pistil, no bigger than an adult's open palm, with a pale green ovary nestled at its very center. It seems to be self-pollinating. The moment it blooms, a rich, sweet fragrance spreads in every direction. enveloping the entire settlement below. Everyone comes rushing out, looking around in bewildered confusion, clearly with no idea what's happening. Tiamu comes running out too. Even as chieftain, he's just as confused, until his gaze lands on the great tree looming above. If anything in the area could give off a scent like this, it has to be the sacred tree that shelters their clan. Tiamu immediately calls out to his people, and the whole clan comes sprinting to the base of the sacred tree, dropping to their knees together and bowing in worship. In an instant, I feel a surge of power rise within me, far greater than anything from any previous ceremony. I suspect this energy is tied to the sincerity of their devotion. The more fervent the worship, the more power I receive. In the minds of these primitive people, this sudden rush of fragrance is the sacred tree making itself known once more. I pour the newly gathered energy straight into the flower, and the scent grows even richer. Down below, the people press to the earth worship with even greater devotion. Suddenly, an old man in the crowd lifts his hands in astonishment. The palms that had been covered in wrinkles are slowly, visibly flushing with color. More than that, he feels his strength returning, his aging body slowly growing younger. When he realizes what's happening, he cries out, "The sacred tree has awakened! The sacred tree has awakened!" Tamu quickly notices the change too. He presses his forehead to the ground and shouts, "Everyone, bow before the sacred tree. This fragrance is its blessing upon our clan. It uses its power to grant us undying bodies and mighty strength." At Tiamu's words, the others feel the change in their bodies too. Every last one of them holds me in even higher reverence than before. Then Tiamu leaps to his feet, raises both hands above his head and calls out to me, "Great sacred tree, I ask that you become our guardian spirit and give us your name. We will worship and honor you for all generations and carry your name across this land." When he finishes, Tiamu drops back to his knees and every person in the clan falls silent, not daring to make a sound. I look at these people. By any measure, they would count as my followers now. I think it over. Becoming their guardian spirit benefits me too. So I make my trunk sway and let out a long, rushing rustle. The moment they hear it, Tiamu jerks his head up, eyes blazing with fervor, and roars, "The sacred tree has agreed. From this day forward, the sacred tree is our guardian spirit and we are the Wood Clan." The people behind him take up the chant, "The Wood Clan! The Wood Clan!" I'm a little pleased with myself. After centuries of going unnoticed, I finally built something of a name. I channel some fresh energy into the flower, letting it breathe out more fragrance, while I watch the changes taking shape among the people below. Under the influence of my flower's scent, their bodies shift in different ways. The elders grow somewhat younger, the young men grow stronger, and the children seem unaffected on the surface. Yet they've been touched too. When they grow up, they will be stronger, healthier, and sharper than anyone else. I pull back the fragrance before long. I can't have them standing around all day. The work of everyday life still has to go on. When the sun climbs higher, I open the flower again, this time letting the scent drift out only faintly. I'm also waiting to see when the flower will wither and give way to fruit. I'm not worried. This is clearly no ordinary bloom. It doesn't need to follow the rules of nature. It will bear fruit, I'm sure of it. But just then I hear a buzzing sound drifting closer from somewhere in the distance. It sounds like a mosquito on the wing, and it's already grating on my nerves. On instinct, I try to wave it away, then remember I have no arms. Still, the swinging motion happens. A branch swings out and I feel it connect with something. Surely not an actual mosquito. My bark is supposed to repel insects. Why is this one flying toward me instead of away? I focus my attention on the spot where I made contact. At first I see nothing, but then I catch it. A yellow bee, drifting woozily up from the ground, wobbling its way straight toward me. This time I don't swat it away. I watch as it lazily draws closer, weaves through the leaves, and makes its way toward the flower on my branch. It hits me. The bee has been drawn in by my flower. It lands near the blossom and starts crawling toward it, clearly intent on collecting nectar. No way. I snap a branch down, thwack, and send it flying. But the bee, undeterred even after taking that hit, keeps crawling stubbornly toward the flower. Thwack, thwack. After a flurry of swats, the bee finally snaps out of it, turning its head around in a daze. Where am I? Oh right, I caught a whiff of something sweet and came to collect some nectar. Speaking of which, nectar. The bee looks around, spots the open blossom instantly, and makes a beeline straight for it. "Here I come, little flower!" I can only groan inwardly and bring the branch down on it again. This time, the bee finally takes notice of what's been hitting it and settles down. I expect the bee to leave after that, but to my surprise, it moves right in and makes itself at home. I find that a little puzzling. My bark is supposed to drive insects away, so why hasn't this bee been repelled? Maybe there are limits to that ability I haven't figured out yet. I don't chase it off. One flick of a branch would do the trick if I wanted, but something about this bee feels different, so I let it stay and make its home in my bark. The bee flies out every day, foraging for food I assume, and comes back each night. Despite having settled in my trunk, it still has designs on my flower. At various times throughout the day it tries to creep toward the blossom, and every time I catch it and swat it with a branch. After a while I start to wonder if this bee has a taste for punishment. Another month passes, and the flower finally withers. 5 white petals drift down, but I curl them up in a branch before they can fall far. Once the petals are gone, only a green fruit remains, small but already half the size of a clenched fist, even though it has barely formed. I can't wait to see what it becomes when it ripens, and what powers it might hold. The flower alone could strengthen people's bodies, so whatever grows from it can't be ordinary. The bee still lives on me. Even with the flower gone, it occasionally circles my trunk as if patrolling a territory. I leave it to its own devices. One day, a heated argument breaks out inside the Wood Clan. 2 groups face each other, each trying to force their view on the other. "We should should drive those people off. The sacred tree belongs to the Wood Clan alone. No outsider has any claim to it. We should wipe them out. The other side disagrees. They're only passing through. Tell them to leave and that's the end of it. Why go to war? When we migrated here, we passed through other clans' lands too and they didn't attack us. We can't do something like that. We are nothing like them. Every time we passed through other clans' territory, we moved on quickly. But these people chose to make camp on our land. They're clearly after our territory. We have to get rid of them. I've been eavesdropping and now understand exactly what the argument is about. Tiamu sits in the middle of the two groups without saying a word, so neither side backs down, and both are trying to bring him around. As chieftain of the Wood Clan, his agreement with either side would settle the matter. Chief, what do you think we should do? Someone finally puts the question to him directly. But Tiamu has a different idea in mind. He's just not sure yet. Tiamu waves his hand and says, "This matter weighs heavily on our clan, and on the sacred tree. I will put the question before the sacred tree and seek its answer." Both sides fall quiet the moment they hear that. Of course, if the answer isn't clear, why not go straight to the source? Out here listening in, I freeze. How has this suddenly landed in my lap? And the real problem is, even if they ask me, I have no way to answer. I can understand them just fine, but I can't speak. If they had a written language, I could use a branch to scratch out an answer in the dirt. But that's the thing. These primitive people have no writing at all. Not because they've forgotten it, but because they simply haven't invented it yet. I turn the problem over in my mind. If only I could speak. Making sounds is all about vibration, isn't it? Then it strikes me. Vibration. I'm a tree, but I can vibrate. And vibration produces sound, right? But I talk myself out of it almost immediately. Vibration alone won't cut it. At best, I can knock one branch against my trunk and make a dull thumping sound. That's a long way from actual speech. I keep thinking, the organs humans use to speak are the throat and windpipe. Air pushed up from the lungs causes the vocal cords to vibrate, producing distinct sounds. What I'm missing are vocal cords, so why not grow some? The idea takes shape and I get straight to work. I select a branch and begin urging it to grow, drawing on a measure of prayer energy, which once focused properly, can drive rapid growth. I guide the branch to grow into the shape of vocal cords from my memory, pushing it along with steady pulses of energy. This might take a long time, but time is something I have plenty of, and with prayer energy helping it along, the growth is far faster than normal. Within just a few minutes, a rudimentary vocal cord structure has taken shape. Next, I coax the branch to grow a small hollow chamber to mimic the function of lungs, drawing in and compressing air. Once that's done, I give it a try. Air passes through the cords and produces a strange puffing sound. The cords clearly aren't flexible enough yet. I keep at it, experiment after experiment, pushing the branch to keep growing towards something with just the right pliability. This would be impossible for an ordinary tree, but I'm not ordinary. I'm a tree sustained by faith, and in the end, after dozens of failures, I finally managed to cobble together a structure that can produce actual sounds. It's nothing like real vocal cords, more like a crude instrument, a hollow cylinder with an opening, and a thin but resilient leaf-shaped membrane that vibrates when air passes through. Producing controlled, rhythmic sounds is still a challenge. I'll need more practice. All of this tinkering happens in a relatively enclosed part of my trunk. The last thing I need is for the people below to overhear. Then Tiamu walks up to me. "Great sacred tree, what do you think I should do? I don't agree with what my people have proposed. I once made a vow before you, to carry your name across this land. I want to bring that small clan into the Wood Clan, to make them your followers too, to have them honor and worship you." I'm taken aback. It never occurred to me that Tiamu's thinking had gone this direction, but I like it. More believers means more prayer energy. Not bad at all. This kid has a good head on his shoulders. So how do I respond? I think it over and come up with something. I guide a bare pointed branch to lower itself slowly toward him. When Tiamu sees the branch reaching down, he immediately drops to his knees in terror, pressing his forehead flat to the ground without daring to move a muscle. I find that a bit much, but I have a job to do. I use the branch to scratch a drawing into the soil at his feet. In no time, a simple picture is done. Rough, but it gets the message across. I see Tiamu is still face down on the ground, so I tap the branch lightly against his head. He finally looks up. I point the branch at the drawing in front of him. Tiamu looks down and immediately spots the rough little sketch. It shows a great tree, obviously me, and at its base a group of small figures kneeling in worship. Tiamu understands at once. He bows his head to the ground again. "Great sacred tree, I know what I must do. I will bring that clan here and have them worship you." Satisfied, I give my leaves a gentle shake. Tiamu, with his answer in hand, immediately heads back to his quarters. He quickly gathers the whole clan and tells them what the sacred tree has shown him. Some had doubted him at first, but the moment they hear the sacred tree has given its blessing, they change their tune without hesitation. I watch Tiamu lead the clan out of the settlement, heading to find those newcomers, I assume. Whether they'll succeed remains to be seen. Tiamu wants others to put their faith in me, but people can't exactly be talked into that overnight. There could well be conflict along the way, but I have no energy to worry about that. My full attention is on building a means to speak. Try after try, I fashion several different kinds of sound-producing structures. Some are like instruments from my past life. Flutes, pipes, capable of making sounds but not suited for speech. Others are modeled after insect sound organs, an idea inspired by the bee living on my bark, but equally unsuitable for conversation. In the end, I succeed in creating a structure capable of producing real human speech. After after more than 100 rounds of practice, I have a solid command of how to use it. The whole process takes me 6 days. Only after that do I have the bandwidth for anything else. I glance around the Wood Clan's settlement, no sign of Tiemu. He probably isn't back yet. With nothing else to do, I quietly move a sound-producing branch over to where the bee is resting. A sound very much like a bee's buzz suddenly rings out, startling the bee wide awake. It shoots into the air in a panic, darting back and forth, searching for the source. I watch it zigzag around and laugh to myself. It feels just like teasing a cat or a dog, except my target is a bee. I've been suspecting this bee is no ordinary insect. It always moves alone, and I've never once seen another of its kind. On top of that, it's unusually large, close to the size of an adult's fist. No normal bee could possibly be that big. Luckily, my trunk is massive enough for the bee to hide in without being noticed, and since I always keep it away from the primitive people, no one in the Wood Clan has ever spotted it. 2 more days pass, and Tiemu returns with his people, but without any new additions. Only his own clan members have come back. I know right away that things didn't go to plan, but hadn't they said it was just a small clan? How did Tiemu's group fail to convince them? I'm confident the Wood Clan members, strengthened by my blessing, are physically superior to any average primitive person. Yet Tiemu still came up short. That makes me genuinely curious. Just what kind of clan are they dealing with? Before long, Tiemu comes to me with a report. Great Sacred Tree, I have failed you. I was unable to bring that small clan back. I speak up suddenly. No matter. Tell me the specifics about that clan. Tiemu's face goes pale. He looks left and right, unable to find where the voice is coming from. Stop looking. I'm right in front of you. I am the sacred tree you speak of. Tiemu freezes. His eyes go wide. Then he presses himself to the ground and cries out, Great Sacred Tree, you can speak? Before I can answer, Tiemu mutters to himself, I was wrong. Of course the Great Sacred Tree can speak. It must be that we weren't devout enough before, and only now that we've satisfied the sacred tree has it chosen to speak to us. I pause, then let it go. No point in explaining. Don't spread word of this for now, and don't tell the rest of the Wood Clan. First, tell me everything about that other clan. I say this because I'm afraid Tiemu will start shouting for the entire clan to come pay their respects. The ceremonies do generate a good amount of prayer energy, but too many in a row gets tiresome, and truth be told, prayer energy trickles in even without rituals, just more slowly. Tiemu rises from the ground, a goofy grin spreading across his face. Great Sacred Tree, this is wonderful, truly wonderful that you can speak. Oh, right. I brought my people to that small clan. They only number around 30. In terms of sheer numbers, the Wood Clan has nothing to fear. Then why did you fail? Tiemu explains. That clan is small in number, but they too have a guardian spirit. A guardian spirit. I've heard those words before. Does a guardian spirit carry some deeper meaning in this world? What guardian spirit do they follow? Tiemu answers. Their guardian spirit is a dark tortoise, and they carry it with them when they travel. A guardian spirit that can be carried? I file that detail away. It's a shame I'm a tree. I can't exactly move around freely. Tiemu continues, I met with their chieftain and asked that they worship you, Great Sacred Tree. But their chieftain told me they would only worship their own guardian spirit. Then he took me to see it. A black tortoise about the length of my forearm. Tiemu holds out his arm to show the size. So I gave him another condition. If they refused to worship you, they would have to leave this land. I nod silently and listen on. But their chieftain said the land here is rich and plentiful, and they would not give it up without a fight. He challenged us to battle. I agreed on the spot. I figure they must have lost the fight. Otherwise, Tiemu wouldn't have come back empty-handed. But his account doesn't quite match my guess. Though the Wood Clan received your blessing and gained stronger bodies, the Dark Shell Clan had received their own blessing from that black tortoise, one that gave them powerful defense. I fought their chieftain, Penshen, but could not break through his guard at all. However, Penshen couldn't defeat me either, so I decided to return first and seek your guidance. Tiemu finishes and looks at me with hopeful eyes, clearly expecting me to grant him greater power. That puts me in a bit of a bind. I've done very little research into how to grant power, and even if I had, what kind of power could I offer? All I have inside me is prayer energy, and the only things I've ever used it for are nurturing a flower and speeding up branch growth. That flower has just produced a small fruit, and it isn't ripe yet. Speaking of the flower, something suddenly comes to me. When it withered, I saved all 5 fallen petals. I quickly go to check on them. Several months have passed since the flower died, yet all 5 petals are still as fresh as the day they fell. Perhaps they could be of some use. I use a branch to lift one petal and bring it to Tiemu. Eat this petal. I keep my words plain and direct. No, give it a try. I'm the sacred tree. Words like that would undermine my dignity. A figure of authority doesn't speak with uncertainty. The moment Tiemu hears my words, his breath quickens. He takes the petal with trembling care, then without a moment's hesitation places it in his mouth. The instant it touches his tongue, Tiemu's eyes fly open wide. He sinks down at the base of my trunk and begins absorbing the energy within it. That flower had been bathed in an enormous amount of prayer energy during its growth. It is no ordinary thing. With his eyes shut, Tiemu feels an endless torrent of power flooding into his limbs. The sensation is much like when he breathed in the flower's fragrance, but far more intense. Before long, Tiemu's mind turns to that memory, the fragrance from long ago. Could this petal be from the very same flower? Overcome with emotion, Tiemu is moved to tears. The great sacred tree is too good to him to offer something so precious. Suddenly, a massive surge of prayer energy wells up inside me. nearly as much as an entire Wood Clan ceremony could generate. I look down at Tiemu seated below my trunk. That surge is almost certainly coming from him. If there were ranks of believers, Tiemu would count as a zealot. Tiemu gradually becomes aware of something new stirring within him. He can't name it, only that it moves through every part of his body, and with each full circuit, leaves him with the distinct sense that he is growing stronger. My awareness of it goes even deeper. All at once, I feel something between Tiemu and me, a bond, as though we share the same bloodline. It's no illusion. The feeling is real, like Tiemu is one of my branches, and yet different from a branch. I can sense him, but I cannot control him. Then Tiemu's eyes snap open. He shoots to his feet and lets out a roar at the sky, startling me so badly that my whole body shakes, leaves rustling from trunk to crown. Then I see it. A faint green mist rises from Tiemu's body, wrapping around him, and within that mist the outline of a great tree takes shape, bearing a striking resemblance to my own form. Tiemu notices the change on his own body. The Wood Clan, hearing his roar, comes pouring out of their shelters, armed with wooden clubs and stone-tipped spears, charging to the sacred tree, only to find Tiemu standing there, wrapped in a green glow. "Chieftain, what's happened to you?" Tiemu clenches his fist, feeling power surge through his entire body, and breaks into a great booming laugh. Then he reins in the laughter, drops to one knee before me and says, "Thank you, great sacred tree, for this gift of power. I will defeat the Dark Shell Clan and bring them back." Only then does the crowd understand. This is all because of me. The Wood Clan drops to their knees before the sacred tree. I have no intention of handing out more petals though. I only have 4 left, and opening another flower isn't something I'm ready to consider just yet. The petals have turned out to be more potent than I expected. I decide to call the force that appeared within Tiemu Bloodroot Power, because it gives me the sensation of a shared bloodline, and that name feels right. Tiemu leads his people out again. This time he is going to defeat the chieftain of the Dark Shell Clan and bring them fully to heal. After Tiemu leaves the Wood Clan, I find I can faintly sense his location. The Bloodroot Power at work, no doubt. BZZ. I hear a familiar sound and know it's the bee returning from its foraging run, landing on my trunk. That's when I notice it's not in good shape. Its body is stained with blood from some creature, one leg hanging limp, likely broken. It must have gotten into a fight and come off badly. It crawls to where a branch meets the trunk, curls up and goes still. I assume it just needs to rest and will recover on its own. But by the following day, the bee hasn't moved at all, motionless in the same spot as though it has already died. I extend a branch to bury it beneath my roots. It has been with me for quite some time, and I've long since come to think of it as a friend. When the branch gently touches the bee's body, one of its legs gives a tiny twitch. With great effort, it lifts its head and looks at the branch reaching toward it. And then I feel it. A wave of emotion from the bee. It is pleading with me. It doesn't want to die like this. It still wants to live. If I can save it, it will do anything I ask. I don't hesitate. I agree. The problem is I have no idea how to save it. I've never healed anything before. Acting on instinct, I channel prayer energy through the branch and into the bee's body. The energy enters without resistance, but it doesn't seem to do anything. The bee still looks close to death. Prayer energy alone clearly isn't the answer. I need another approach. Then it comes to me, the flower. Its fragrance could restore youth. Perhaps it can heal wounds too. Working with prayer energy, I coax a tiny flower bud into being, no bigger than half a fingernail. Since the flower is so small, it takes little effort to bring it to bloom. A faint, sweet scent drifts out from the blossom. The moment the bee catches the fragrance, it perks up noticeably, but its wounds remain. The flower has lifted its spirits a little, but nothing more. I keep feeding prayer energy into the small flower until a single drop of nectar forms at its heart. Then I guide that drop into the bee's mouth. The moment it swallows, a layer of green mist slowly rises from its body. The same green mist I saw around Tiemu. Could the two be the same thing? I soon have my answer. The mist begins, slowly but unmistakably, to knit the bee's wounds back together. I finally breathe easy. My instinct was right. Under the mist's care, the bee's injuries steadily heal. At last it stands again, beats its wings a few times, and lifts off into the air, a full recovery. I feel a quiet swell of pride. The flowers I grow with prayer energy clearly carry powerful healing properties. I start wondering, is there a simpler way to do this? Opening a flower every time is a lot of effort. My thoughts drift to my branches. Could I channel prayer energy directly into a branch and produce the same healing effect? I get straight to work. Before long, a single drop of green sap beads at the tip of a bare branch. I notice the bee is perched on a nearby branch resting, so I call it over. The perfect test subject. I offer it the drop of sap. It drinks, and sure enough, the same green mist rises from its body. Branch sap and flower nectar have the same effect. The discovery fills me with excitement. I developed this ability entirely on my own. From now on, I can be a healer. A great tree that tends to the wounded and saves lives. When the excitement settles, I notice the connection between the bee and me has deepened. It's different from the bloodroot bond I feel with Tiemu. I find I can communicate with the bee directly, mind to mind. It can't speak in words, only buzz, but I understand every bit of what it means to convey. Not bad. From now on, you're my sidekick, responsible for security patrols in the surrounding area. BZ. At your command, Great Sacred Tree. From now on, call me Boss. Not Great Sacred Tree, Boss. You don't seem to have a name. From now on, I'll call you Goldenwick. Wonderful. I have a name. From this day forward I am Goldenwick. I give the little bee its name and officially make it my sidekick. Goldenwick, what can you do? Boss, I'm really only good at biting things. My bite is strong though. I can chew through a lot. That doesn't sound especially impressive. This won't do, I think to myself. Goldenwick, after drinking the tree sap, do you feel any kind of power stirring inside you? I wonder if I can help Goldenwick tap into bloodroot power too. That might make it a real force to reckon with. Goldenwick closes its eyes and reaches inward. After a moment, traces of green mist begin drifting from its body. I give a small nod. Good, bloodroot power is there. But a moment later, the green mist begins to thin, and then a different mist, golden yellow, starts rising in its place. That I hadn't expected. It seems Goldenwick has gifts of its own. I can see it clearly. The yellow mist is also bloodroot power, but not the kind I gave it. This is something that has awakened from within Goldenwick itself. At last, the golden yellow mist wraps entirely around Goldenwick's body, and within it, the hazy outline of a much larger bee shimmers into view. Goldenwick opens its eyes and stares at the mist surrounding it, and the faint, oversized bee silhouette looming within, clearly stunned. Boss, what is this? This force is called bloodroot power, I explain. It comes from within you. What it can do is something you'll have to discover for yourself. Goldenwick nods slowly, half understanding. I can't teach it much more than that. I've only just discovered bloodroot power myself. Something puzzles me though. Why could Goldenwick awaken its own bloodroot power when Timu couldn't? The form that appeared around Timu was clearly modeled on my own tree shape, while the shape that emerged around Goldenwick was its own bee form. All I can do for now is guess that something about the human body is different. It will need more study. Goldenwick draws its power back in. Boss, I want to go out for a bit. Going foraging? Go ahead. Carry on as usual. If I need you for something, I'll call. Goldenwick buzzes into the air. Boss, actually, I want to go get revenge. Yesterday, while I was out looking for food, I ran into a snake. It tried to steal what I had, so I fought it and lost. Hold on, I say, caught off guard. You were fighting a snake over food? What do you normally eat? Lots of things, really. Nectar, fruit, bugs, basically whatever I can find. Well, I'll be. I had assumed it was just a simple nectar-gathering bee. Turns out it's carnivorous. Not unheard of course. Hornets, wasps, and killer bees all hunt insects. I know I misjudged Goldenwick, but that's the extent of it. I tell Goldenwick to be careful. A snake is not an easy opponent for a bee, and a full day has already passed, so the snake has surely moved on. But Goldenwick says, Boss, I don't think it's gone anywhere. There's a large settlement nearby, and the people there keep snakes. That snake belongs to one of them. Another clan? The significance of what Goldenwick has just said hits me immediately. This is important intelligence. I think it over and give Goldenwick its orders. Goldenwick, put your revenge aside for now. I need you to do something for me first. Go to that snake-keeping clan and find out everything you can. How many people there are, what their guardian spirit is. Come back and report when you're done. It's about staying one step ahead. As the Wood clan grows, it will inevitably have to deal with neighboring clans. Knowing the other side's details in advance, whether you're forging an alliance or preparing for a conflict, gives you the upper hand from the very start. Goldenwick flies off. I watch it disappear into the distance, guessing that the snake-keeping clan is still some ways from the Wood clan. My trunk now stands about 50 meters tall, so I have a wide field of view, and within that range there is no other settlement in sight. As for the Dark Shell clan, a mountain in that direction happened to block my line of sight. Beside that mountain ran a small river, and the Dark Shell clan had chosen the riverbank as their settlement. When I first arrived in this world, that river had been nothing more than a narrow stream. Over the following centuries, it gradually widened and deepened into the river it is today. Meanwhile, Timu has arrived at the Dark Shell clan's settlement with his people. The Dark Shell clan is small, living in low shelters built from wood and grass. The moment they spot Timu and his group, the entire clan mobilizes. The men grab their weapons, the women shield the children. As for the elderly, the Dark Shell clan's long migration had claimed them all along the way. Timu stands before the Dark Shell clan without a trace of fear and roars, Panshan! I'm back. Our last duel ended without a winner. This time I will defeat you and bring you all under the sacred tree. The man Timu is calling out is none other than the chieftain of the Dark Shell clan. Panshan steps out, his face dark with anger. Timu, you're far too arrogant. Our last battle proved that our guardian spirit is no weaker than your sacred tree. We will never abandon our devotion. Timu scoffs. Last time was a fluke. Come on. This time I'll show you what the sacred tree is truly capable of. The two men lock eyes. The people of the Wood clan and the Dark Shell clan form a circle around them, creating an arena. Both grip stone spears, eyes fixed on each other. Panshan lets out a roar and charges first. Timu plants his foot and surges forward to meet him. Their spears clash in midair. Both are pushed back a step, but both lunge forward again immediately, trading blow after blow, evenly matched. Timu's physical conditioning is extraordinary. Even after prolonged fighting, he shows no sign of fatigue. Panshan, however, is gradually losing ground, yet his body is as hard as a tortoiseshell. When Tiamu's spear grazes his arm, it leaves only a faint scratch. Even at a disadvantage, Panshan's iron-hard body absorbs every strike. This is exactly how their last fight went. A grinding stalemate until both men ran out of strength. Tiamu understands without using the power I granted him, defeating Panshan is impossible. He begins to draw on the power within, pulling it from every part of his body until it surges together inside him like a rushing river. Tiamu's arms shudder with a thunderous crack, and with a single strike, Panshan is blasted backward. Panshan barely steadies himself and looks up. What he sees stops him cold. A green glow is rising from Tiamu's body, taking the faint shape of a great tree that envelops him entirely. Ha! Come on then! Let's see how you win this time. Tiamu grips his spear, stamps the ground hard enough to leave a crater, and launches himself forward. Panshan scrambles to raise his spear. Tiamu leaps into the air and drives every ounce of his power into his weapon. The spear bears down on Panshan with crushing force, snapping his weapon in two. Then Tiamu's spear connects squarely. Panshan is sent flying through the air, coughing up a mouthful of blood. The Dark Shell clan cries out in horror, faces filled with fear, rushing to where Panshan has landed and helping him to his feet. Blood runs from the corner of Panshan's mouth. Through the searing pain, he forces his voice out, "Go bring our guardian spirit." Several members of the Dark Shell clan hear his call and sprint back into the settlement. Behind the Dark Shell clan settlement, beside the river, sits a recently dug pond. A large black tortoise rests inside, and apart from its unusual size, there is nothing remarkable about it at all. The clansmen reach the pond and drop to their knees in a panic, bowing frantically. "Guardian spirit, something's wrong. Those Wood clan people are back, and they've defeated our chieftain." The tortoise in the pond opens its eyes, lifts its head, and fixes its gaze on the one who spoke. "Our chieftain sent us to bring you. Please help us defeat that horrible man." The tortoise gives its head a slow shake. Taking that as a response, the clansmen jump into the water, lift the tortoise, and carry it out. Outside the settlement, Tiamu lowers his spear, and within moments the mist around his body draws back inside him. The Wood clan erupts in cheers at Tiamu's victory. Tiamu waves his hand and shouts, "All of this is the power of the sacred tree! The sacred tree!" He lets out a few more cheers, then strides toward the Dark Shell clan. "You've lost. As agreed, you will come back with us, offer tribute to the sacred tree, and follow it from this day forward." Supported by his people, Panshan faces Tiamu. "This isn't over. We still have our guardian spirit." Tiamu's expression hardens with fury. "You dare break your word." The Dark Shell clan raises their weapons as one. The Wood clan charges forward, but Tiamu holds them back just in time. Without that, a full battle would have been unavoidable. Tiamu's face darkens. "I'm giving you one last chance. Come with us." Just then, the men carrying the tortoise push through the crowd and step forward. Panshan spots the black tortoise and cries out, "Guardian spirit, please help us fight them off." Tiamu immediately tenses, the mist rising from his body at once. But then, the black tortoise suddenly opens its mouth and bites down hard on Panshan's hand. Panshan cries out in pain. The men carrying the tortoise instinctively let go, and it drops straight to the ground. Then, to everyone's astonishment, it crawls away without looking back. Panshan watches in disbelief as it retreats and shouts, "Quick, bring it back!" Tiamu's expression shifts. He throws his arm out. "Stop them!" The Wood clan and the Dark Shell clan immediately clash. Under Tiamu's watchful eye, the black tortoise crawls to the riverbank, drops in, and vanishes. Before long, every last member of the Dark Shell clan has been captured. Tiamu stands over to the barely conscious Panshan with a satisfied smile. "Even you didn't see that coming, did you? The guardian spirit you put your faith in just ran away. From this day forward, there is no more Dark Shell clan." Panshan coughs up blood, his eyes glazing over, and breathes his last. Tiamu finds a place to bury Panshan's body, then leads the remaining members of the Dark Shell clan back. From a distance, I watch Tiamu and his group return in triumph, a crowd of primitive people trailing behind them with their families, clearly the former Dark Shell clan. From now on, these people will need a new name. They'll be absorbed into the Wood clan, though that process will take some time. Tiamu brings them back to the Wood clan settlement and leads them before me. "This is the sacred tree that our Wood clan worships. From this day forward, you will worship the sacred tree as well." The group kneels before me and bows in worship, but I only receive a faint trickle of prayer energy. I know perfectly well that these people don't truly believe yet, but I'm confident they will become genuine followers before long. After leading the newcomers through the ritual, Tiamu begins settling them in. The Wood clan's current population stands at 61. With 32 new arrivals from the Dark Shell clan, the total now reaches 93. Deep in the night, Tiamu comes alone to my side and calls out softly, "Sacred tree." I'm not asleep, of course. Since becoming a tree, I rarely sleep. Sometimes, out of boredom, I let my thoughts go blank and stop thinking altogether, which is a little like sleeping, I suppose. I make a sound. "Tiamu, you did well." Tiamu grins. "Sacred tree, it's all because of the power you gave me. Without it, I never could have defeated their chieftain. So what brings you to me tonight?" Tiamu recounts the day's events in full. When he finishes, he asks, "Sacred tree, can a guardian spirit really just leave on its own?" I hear the question and understand immediately what he's worried about. He's afraid that one day I'll abandon them too, just like the tortoise did. I laugh. "Tiamu, if the guardian spirit you followed stopped granting you power, would you choose to follow a different one?" Tiamu breaks into a cold sweat. He immediately drops to his knees and presses his forehead to the ground. "Sacred tree, I will follow you forever." I extend a branch and lift him to his feet. "Relax. I was only posing a hypothetical. I think you already know the answer." Tiamu stands before me, his heart pounding. I have no thoughts on that, and no answer. Does he dare have one? Of course he doesn't dare. I sigh inwardly. "Alright, I'll tell you directly. Just as you can choose a guardian spirit can choose you. When what you do disgusts it, it will leave. Go ask the people from the Dark Shell clan what they did to their guardian spirit." Tiamu nods eagerly. "Sacred tree, I'll go right now. Go tomorrow. It's nighttime. Everyone is resting. I remind him quickly as he turns to leave. Tiamu nods repeatedly. Of course, sacred tree. Please rest as well. With that, Tiamu practically sprints away. It looks more like fleeing than walking home. I mutter to myself, am I really that intimidating? I'm just a tree. I don't dwell on it. I look up at the sky. It's clean and clear, with both a sun and a moon, but if you look closely, they're both oddly small and somehow not quite real. At night, aside from the moon, there isn't a single star in the sky. Of course, only I would notice things like that. I've lived in another world before. For the primitive people born and raised in this world, they've grown up under this sky. To them, it's simply what the world looks like. I turn my gaze back to the ground. The Wood Clan is fast asleep, and faint snoring drifts from where the former Dark Shell Clan members are resting. The sound of splashing water carries from the river in the distance, sharp and clear in the stillness of the night. I shift my gaze and immediately spot a large tortoise moving through the water. A large tortoise. Could it be the Dark Shell Clan's guardian spirit? Tiamu did say it had jumped into the river and vanished. My curiosity piqued. I guide several branches, and they shoot out toward the river with a whoosh. These are special branches I grew using prayer energy. They can be as flexible as rope or as hard as steel. I call them my vine arms. The tortoise barely senses the danger before my vine arms make contact with its shell. It tries to dive, but they're already coiled around it, and with one pull, I haul it straight out of the water. The tortoise opens its mouth and bites down on the vine arms, trying to chew through and break free. But these are no ordinary branches. Under my control, they harden instantly to the strength of steel. The tortoise bites down as if gnawing on solid rock. The only result is a nearly broken tooth. I pull it up into my branches, where the surrounding twigs and leaves weave together to form a cage of wood. The tortoise doesn't give up, struggling the whole time. I look it over. About a meter long, jet black all over. It certainly matches the description Tiamu gave of the Dark Shell Clan's guardian spirit. The reason I'm interested is that Tiamu mentioned the Dark Shell Clan had received a blessing from their guardian spirit that gave them powerful defense. I try communicating with the tortoise, a method I learned from Goldenwick when I saved it. Whether it will work on a tortoise, I'm not sure. Are you the guardian spirit of the Dark Shell Clan? I send the message through the vine arms coiled around it. The tortoise goes completely still. I'm pleased. The method works, but the tortoise just stares blankly, offering nothing back. I try again. You can say what you want to express in your mind. I should be able to understand. The moment I finish, the tortoise yanks its head and all four limbs inside its shell. I hadn't expected it to be this timid. I wait patiently, and eventually something comes through. I used to be the guardian spirit of the Dark Shell Clan, but the Dark Shell Clan is no more. Please, I'm just an ordinary little tortoise. Let me go. Look at me. I'm all shell and no meat. Don't eat me. I taste terrible. Really, I do, please. If you're hungry, I can catch fish for you in the river. Just let me go. I'll catch fish for you. Every single day, I promise. Just please let me go. I quickly cut the connection. It won't stop, just endlessly begging to be released. Alright, I can let you go. But first, calm down. I have some questions. I send the message and immediately cut the connection again. After a moment, the tortoise finally pokes its head out, glances nervously around, then pulls it back in just a little. I figure it's calmed down, so I reconnect. You once gave the Dark Shell Clan your blessing. The tortoise extends its head and nods, but then says, that was all they're doing. It wasn't my choice. I'm genuinely surprised. Primitive people forced you into giving a blessing? Don't try to fool me. The tortoise immediately sobbed out its grievances. I'm just a small, ordinary tortoise. Nothing like you, with your great power. I was just a regular tortoise living in a river. Until one day those people suddenly dragged me onto the bank and forced me to become their guardian spirit. I refused at first and tried to make a run for it every chance I got, but they caught me every time. Then they threatened me. If I tried to escape again, they'd boil me alive. That's the only reason I agreed to be their guardian spirit. Are these primitive people really that ruthless? Listening to the tortoise sob out its story, I can easily picture the miserable life it led. At least the Wood Clan never resorted to anything like that with me. I suddenly think back to when they first arrived at my trunk. They came asking for my protection, but if I had refused, I might have ended up in the same situation as this tortoise. At least the tortoise has legs. I'm a tree. I don't even have legs. If it ever came to it, I couldn't run even if I wanted to. A sense of urgency grips me. This can't go on. The Wood Clan respects me now, but who's to say they always will? I can't tie my own safety to someone else's faith. I need to grow stronger. The tortoise continues. The only good thing about being their guardian spirit was that I didn't have to hunt anymore. They brought me food every day. I nod slightly. That sounds a lot like the Wood Clan's offerings to me. Then one day they came demanding a blessing, as if I had the first idea how to give one. This is exactly what I wanted to ask about. It's the whole reason I went after this tortoise. Eventually I had no choice. I let them have a few drops of my blood. I didn't expect it to actually work. The ones who took it became physically stronger and harder to injure. That was the entirety of my so-called blessing. So they consumed the tortoise's blood. Come to think of it, the petal I gave Tiamu was technically a part of my own body, which means the Wood Clan has essentially done something similar. That thought gives me a chill. My unease deepens considerably. When you were their guardian spirit, did you ever sense something new appearing inside you? The tortoise nods. I did feel something new inside me back then. Some of it is still there. Do you know what it is? I call it prayer energy. It's a force that forms within us when primitive people perform rituals in our honor. Prayer energy, so that's what it's called. You truly are remarkable knowing something like that. I let out a quiet laugh laugh. This tortoise knows how to butter someone up. It's probably hoping I'll let it go. Alright, I think I have everything I need. What are your plans from here? The tortoise replies, find somewhere to settle down, I suppose. How about staying with me? If you go off on your own, there's a good chance someone will catch you again. I think to myself, my strength hasn't grown much yet, and having some backup around wouldn't hurt. I already have Goldenwick as my sidekick. Why not try adding a tortoise? The tortoise asks tentatively. Can I say no? I was just suggesting it, trying to persuade it to come along, but it seemed like it had misunderstood something. Don't worry, I'll let you go. The tortoise glances at the vine arms still wrapped around it, and nods without hesitation. I really will let you go, why won't you believe me? The tortoise thinks to itself, as if it believed a word of that. I release the tortoise back into the river. It promises to stay in the nearby area and bring me a fish every day. I don't object. Giving it something to do isn't a bad idea. After releasing the tortoise, I fall into deep thought. I look at the wood clan settled beneath me. I've always held on to the fact that I was once human, and because of that, I've had a certain fondness for these people. That's why when Timu came to me for help, I gave him the petal without a second thought. But the tortoise's story has made something clear to me. In the eyes of these primitive people, I am simply a tree. If the day ever comes when they grow stronger than me, things could turn dangerous. That said, I can't afford to abandon them. The prayer energy they generate is genuinely helping me grow. Going forward, I need to handle this relationship carefully, neither blindly helping them nor completely ignoring them. The next day, Tiemu goes to the former Darkshell clan members and asks them about the tortoise. I listen to every word of their exchange. Their account closely matches what the tortoise told me the night before. They had indeed captured the tortoise and forced it to give its blood in exchange for the blessings they received. Tiemu walks out of the former Darkshell clan's quarters with a complicated expression. He comes alone to stand before me, tilts his head back to look up at my tall, straight form, and after a long silence, speaks slowly. Sacred tree, I've spoken with the people from the Darkshell clan. I know now what they did to their guardian spirit. But Tiemu's eyes grow fiercely, resolute. The Wood clan will never do something like that to you. I listen in silence without responding. Tiemu drops to his knees before me. Sacred tree, as long as I draw breath, I will not let anyone harm you. The moment he finishes speaking, a powerful surge of prayer energy flows into me. It brings genuine comfort, enough to make me feel that giving Tiemu the petal was not a mistake. A single person's words won't change how I approach the whole clan, but I rustle a few branches to let him know I heard him. Tiemu doesn't linger long. He is chieftain of the entire Wood clan, and there is much that needs his attention. Toward evening, Goldenwick returns from its scouting run, weaves through the leaves and lands on a branch. Boss, I'm back. Good work. What did you find out? Goldenwick drops the cheerful act and turns serious. I did a thorough investigation. The snake-keeping clan calls itself the Serpent Clan. Their guardian spirit is a giant snake. It took me a while, but I found the snake on a mountain a few hundred meters from their settlement. The thing is enormous, about this big. Goldenwick takes to the air and traces a circle, roughly 2 meters across. I'm genuinely taken aback. If that snake is really that large, calling it a snake is almost an understatement. Python would be more fitting. With the Serpent Clan's continued worship, it could one day evolve into a sea serpent, or even a dragon, if this world has the conditions for that kind of transformation. Goldenwick lands again and continues. The Serpent Clan has around 200 people. They're skilled hunters who frequently go deep into the mountains to track game. They also keep snakes, almost one per person, and many of them are venomous. My mood darkens after hearing this. The Serpent Clan is formidable. Compared to the Wood Clan, they have more than double the numbers, and the gap in overall strength is even wider. If the two clans came to blows, the Wood Clan would stand almost no chance. We need to grow, and fast. I think it over carefully. The first step is to introduce farming. Right now, the Wood Clan relies mainly on hunting with some gathering on the side, but as the population grows, that alone will never be enough. I don't act on it right away though. The timing needs to be right. In the meantime, I focus most of my energy on researching how prayer energy can be applied in combat. Previously, I've mainly used prayer energy to accelerate my own branch growth, which is how I developed the vine arms with their extraordinary toughness. Beyond that, prayer energy can grow branches with healing properties and produce petals that strengthen the body and awaken bloodroot power. But all of these are support functions with limited combat value. Unfortunately, after all this time, I still haven't developed anything with real fighting capability. When winter arrives, the Wood Clan faces a food crisis. Many animals hibernate, leaving far fewer to hunt. And crucially, winter means no fruit or plants to gather. The clan's main food supply dries up completely. Tiemu has no choice but to lead his people further afield in search of game. I don't interfere. However, I notice something curious. As winter sets in, the prayer energy I receive each day actually increases. After watching closely, I realize why. The people are praying to me for better hunts, and each prayer sends a little prayer energy my way. As the cold winds howl, the Wood Clan finally reaches its limit. Several days have passed without anyone catching a single thing. At that moment, a former member of the Dark Shell clan, a man named Lishi, comes running to Tiemu. Chieftain, we haven't eaten in days. If this goes on, people are going to starve. Tiemu's expression is grim. He already knows. As chieftain, he's more aware of the situation than anyone. Lishi continues. Chieftain, could we ask the sacred tree for help? Tiemu doesn't follow. Why would we ask the sacred tree? Isn't the sacred tree our guardian spirit? Shouldn't it be protecting us? Tiemu nods. The sacred tree does protect us, but that's no excuse to go bothering it over every difficulty. Besides, Besides, we're not completely out of food yet. We haven't caught any animals, but there are still things to eat out there. He means bark and leaves, edible enough to stave off starvation for a while. In his view, they can make it through the winter. Timu sends Lishi away. His view is firm, you don't go troubling the sacred tree over small difficulties, but Lishi doesn't drop it. He goes to other former Darkshell clan members, pitches the idea, and quickly finds people who agree. The Darkshell clan had been defeated by Tiemu and forced into the Wood clan, and some of them were never truly willing. Lishi plans to use this situation to stir up trouble in the Wood clan. Egged on by this group, discontent begins to spread through the broader clan. That day, Tiemu returns empty-handed again. Another failed hunt. Lishi seizes the moment, rallies a group, and blocks Tiemu's path. Chieftain, still nothing again today? Surely you're not making us eat bark again? Tiemu takes in the crowd behind Lishi, mostly former Darkshell clan members, with a few Wood clan people mixed in. His brow furrows, anger simmering beneath the surface. What is this? If you don't like eating bark, go out and hunt something yourself. Several of Tiemu's hunting companions standing behind him chime in. Exactly. If you're so capable, go hunt something yourself. Get out of the way. What do you think you're doing blocking the path? Lishi has no intention of moving. His whole purpose today is to push Tiemu into taking the group before the sacred tree. Chieftain, I already suggested a solution. We go to the sacred tree and ask it to give us food. Then none of us have to keep eating bark. His words are immediately met with a chorus of agreement. That's right, Chieftain. Let's go to the sacred tree. It can give us food. We know it can. Please take us there. Tiemu's expression darkens further. These people are trying to force his hand. He slams one foot forward. The entire crowd flinches back and the area falls dead silent. Tiemu scans every face in the crowd, committing them to memory. Is this what all of you think? No one dares to answer. Finally, Lishi steels himself and calls out, yes, that's what we all think. Tiemu smiles, an unsettling smile. Then gather every last member of the clan. We'll all go to the sacred tree together. Lishi quietly exhales with relief at those words, already wondering how the sacred tree will respond. If the sacred tree can't provide food, he'll have grounds to talk the clan out of following it. And if it actually does provide food, he simply doesn't believe it's possible. Where would a tree that can't even move get food from? He's been watching all along. As far as he's concerned, it's just a very large tree, nothing more. Before long, every member of the Wood clan has gathered before me. Quiet murmuring fills the air. Some believe the sacred tree will provide, others don't. As chieftain, Tiemu walks at the front. He steps up to me and leads the clan in worship. I've been watching the whole time. Everything that happened after Tiemu returned, I saw it all. The prayer energy from this ceremony is noticeably less than usual. I know exactly why. Some members of the clan have begun to waver in their faith. The shift has two sources, partly Lishi's agitation from the former Darkshell clan, and partly because some people prayed for food and received nothing, breeding doubt. After leading the clan through the ritual, Tiemu speaks to me of the clan's hardship and asks for my help. Sacred tree, we ask that you answer our prayer and provide food for your people. The moment Tiemu finishes speaking, the entire tree shudders. Every leaf erupts into a dramatic sweeping rustle. The sudden movement startles most of the crowd. Those who had pressured Tiemu into coming look especially stiff, their expressions uneasy. Yet they reassure themselves, it's nothing. It's just a very big tree. I decide it's time to make a few things clear to these primitive people. I speak two words slowly and deliberately. Tiemu. Tiemu drops to his knees immediately. Sacred tree, Tiemu is here. Behind him, the entire clan sinks to their knees. This time, every face wears an expression of shock. The sacred tree they worship can actually speak. Is this truly just a tree? Tiemu, kneeling on the ground, allows himself a quiet inward laugh. So now even those who doubted the sacred tree get to see just how powerful it truly is. Then I speak again, slowly. You are asking me to provide food? Tiemu gives a slight nod. Sacred tree, the Wood clan's food supply is truly running low. Some of our people were hoping to receive more. I nod, which means the whole tree sways again. Those who follow me with sincerity may receive food from me. My words bring the entire clan's heads up at once, faces flushed, eyes wide with excitement. Even Tiemu hadn't expected the sacred tree to actually provide food. His expression grows even more fervent. He already believed completely, and now that belief deepens further. I continue. Tiemu, have the clan come forward one by one. I will give each person food according to the sincerity of their faith. My words make one thing perfectly clear. Not everyone will receive food. Only those who truly believe will. The handful of people who had led the push to come here collapse where they kneel. It's over. Everything is over. Not only can the sacred tree provide food, it can tell who truly believes and who doesn't. People like them, who barely believed at all, will certainly receive nothing. Worse, their lack of faith will be exposed in front of everyone. When that happens, it won't just be a matter of no food. They could be driven out of the clan entirely. Tiemu, you come first. At my instruction, Tiemu steps forward, kneels and bows in worship. A solid mass of prayer energy flows into me at once. I bring out the fish I have prepared in advance, wrapping them in a flexible branch and presenting them before the crowd. The sight of the fish makes the entire crowd catch their breath. These fish were stored in advance, provided by the tortoise I had taken on as my sidekick. The tortoise had promised to catch one fish per day, and it had kept its word, sometimes delivering more than one. But I'm a tree. I have no mouth to eat fish with, so I dried and stored them away, keeping them in a chamber I grew from my own branches. Handed out in small amounts every few days, they should be enough to carry the clan through to spring. I hand a fish to Tiamu. He gives his thanks and steps aside to let the next person come forward. The same process repeats, but this time the prayer energy I receive is noticeably less than what Tiamu gave. The fish I offer in return is correspondingly smaller. Finally, it's Lishi's turn. Lishi approaches with a pounding heart, kneels and bows. The prayer energy I receive is so faint it barely registers. I rummage through my storage, eventually pulling the tail off a small fish and prepare to hand that over. But the wait stretches on, and with every passing second his panic grows. At last, he can't bear it any longer. He slams his forehead to the ground. Sacred tree, I was wrong. I had no right to doubt your power. I wasn't sincere. I have sinned. I was wrong. Please, I don't need food. Just don't punish me. I truly am sorry. I will repent. From now on, I will follow you with all my heart. I hear this and set the fish tail back. Enough. Step back. Tiamu, take him away and let him reflect on what he's done. Tiamu hears my words, immediately waves several clansmen over, and has Lishi escorted away, confined to his quarters until further notice. Listening to Tiamu's handling of it, I think to myself that they should probably build a proper prison at some point. But then again, the Wood clan still struggles to feed itself. That's clearly not a priority right now. After Lishi is taken away, Tiamu continues calling the rest of the clan forward to receive their food. Before long, nearly everyone has received something. The small number who haven't are all taken away by Tiamu's people and confined to their homes. After all this, the clan's faith in me rises noticeably across the board. In their eyes, I am no longer simply a large tree, nor merely a guardian spirit. What I am exactly, none of them have found the word for it yet. I send everyone else away and keep Tiamu behind. He knows I have something for him. Sacred tree, what do you wish of me? I speak slowly. Tiamu, do you understand why today happened? Tiamu lowers his head. Sacred tree, it's because I failed to manage the clan properly. I allowed people with no real faith to remain unchecked. That's correct. You do bear responsibility here. Tiamu's expression falls. I accept whatever punishment you see fit. I laugh. The leaves rustle with it. Tiamu hears the laughter and looks up in confusion. Tiamu, I'm not blaming you for failing to control your people. What I want to ask is, why is the clan short on food in the first place? Tiamu thinks for a moment. We weren't able to catch enough game. I sigh inwardly. Getting Tiamu to work it out on his own would take too long. Better to be direct. Tiamu, have you ever paid attention to the grasses and plants that produce seeds? Tiamu blinks at the question, thinking it over. He's always focused on tracking animals. The women who gather plants and seeds would know far more about this than he does. I see him thinking and continue. If you collected those seeds and planted them in the ground when spring comes, what do you think would happen? Tiamu answers without thinking. They would sprout. Exactly. They sprout, they flower, and by autumn they produce far more seeds than you planted. Plant one seed in spring and you can harvest a whole cluster by autumn. Do you understand what I'm getting at? Tiamu turns this over in his mind. One seed becomes a handful of seeds. That really is possible. His breathing quickens. Sacred tree, does that mean we could have as many seeds as we could ever need? We'd never have to worry about going hungry in winter again. This is incredible. I can tell Tiamu has grasped it. He's already thinking about it so intensely that he wishes spring would arrive tomorrow. But knowing to plant seeds is only the beginning. They'll also need to know how to choose good land, when to sow, what tools to use, none of which these primitive people have any idea about. All of it will have to come from me. I could choose not to teach them and let them figure it out over several years on their own, but that's far too slow for my purposes. Tiamu, choose a few people from the clan and bring them to me. I'll teach them what they need to know about farming, so that when spring arrives, they'll be ready. Tiamu nods immediately and says he'll go make his selections right away. I tell him there's no rush, spring is still some time away, and that's more than enough time to cover the basics, assuming they aren't too slow to learn, of course. The next day, Tiamu arrives with 3 people. All 3 are young, only 12 or 13 years old. In the Wood clan, that age is practically adulthood. Boys join the men on hunts, and girls are nearly of marriageable age. That's just the reality of this era. The average lifespan is short. 50 years is considered a ripe old age. That said, the current Wood clan members have all received my blessing, which has improved their physical condition considerably, and with it, their lifespan. 2 girls and 1 boy. Before they've even reached me, I can already hear the boy muttering complaints to Tiamu from a distance. Uncle Tai, I don't want to learn farming. I want to go hunting with you. Tiamu gives the boy a sharp smack on the forehead. What kind of nonsense is that? The sacred tree itself is going to teach you. Do you have any idea how rare an opportunity this is? And you don't even want it? I could go back to the clan right now and announce this, and people would be fighting each other to take your spot. The boy pulls a sulky face and looks like he wants to argue, then sees Tiamu's hand raised and wisely decides to fall in line. Beside him, the 2 girls whisper to each other, covering their mouths to hide their giggling. Tiamu brings the 3 before me and tells them to study hard and not slack off. The boy mutters under his breath. Like anyone would dare slack off in front of the sacred tree. Tiamu shoots him a glare. What did you just say? The boy immediately snaps to attention and faces me with exaggerated sincerity. I will study with all my heart under the sacred tree's guidance. I laugh quietly to myself and tell Tiamu he can leave the 3 of them in my care. The boy's name is Showa. The 2 girls are Shuilian and Biyun. All 3 have been attending rituals since childhood and hold a genuine, devoted faith in the sacred tree. Despite Showa's complaints about hunting, being chosen as a student of the sacred tree secretly fills him with pride. I start by asking the 3 some questions. The 2 girls recognize a number of seeds, Showa has no idea at all. I begin by teaching them how to select the right seeds. At my words, Biyun hesitates, then gathers her nerve and speaks up. Sacred tree, all the seeds we gathered have been eaten. There are no seeds left in the clan at all. I extend a branch, its leaves woven at the tip, into a large pouch, filled with all manner of seeds. If I'm going to teach them farming, of course I've come prepared. I had long since asked Goldenwick to collect plant seeds during its foraging runs, an entire autumn's worth of collecting. Quite a stockpile, including some varieties from beyond the Wood Clan's territory. All of it thanks to Goldenwick's efforts. The three of them stare at the seeds with their mouths hanging open, each thinking the same thing. How does the sacred tree have so many? I don't offer an answer. I let them wonder. With seeds in hand, the lessons can begin. After going through seed identification, I teach them how to make farming tools and how to use them. All three are quick learners. It doesn't take much effort to get them up to speed. Then comes practice. I have the three of them pick a plot of unused land by the river and clear it with their tools. This patch will serve as both their training ground and the site of the first planting in spring. The Wood Clan members see the three of them digging by the river and come crowding over, curious. I instruct the three to keep working while explaining what they're doing to the onlookers. By the time spring arrives, nearly everyone in the Wood Clan has a basic understanding of farming. I track the seasons carefully, and the moment spring arrives, I tell the three to put the selected seeds in the ground. The rest of the Wood Clan comes to help, trusting my words without question. Dozens of plots of varying sizes are cleared along the riverbank, and every one of them is planted. But planting is only the beginning. Farming requires ongoing care. Regular fertilizing, weeding, keeping pests away, and more. Even with my guidance, the clan runs into plenty of problems on this first attempt. Without my help, it would probably take years for them to work things out on their own. In the course of teaching, I discover something new about myself. I can read exactly how well the crops are growing and know precisely what needs to be done and when. Even without any hands-on farming experience, I can guide others accurately. Half a year passes, some of the faster-growing crops have already produced seeds, and the Wood Clan celebrates its first harvest. Led by Showa and the two girls, a group of women and children work together to bring in the ripe crops. The crop resembles wheat, though its seeds are only about half the size of wheat grains. Even so, for the Wood Clan, this is an entirely new experience. The first time they have ever produced food this way. Tiamu looks at the heaping pile of seeds and beams with joy, and there are still plenty of crops in the ground yet to ripen. Tiamu can already picture it. If they keep planting and harvesting, the clan will have more food than they could ever eat. They might not even need to hunt anymore. Tiamu spots Showa grinning proudly and asks, "Showa, do you still want to go hunting?" Showa laughs happily. "Uncle Tai, the sacred tree is just incredible. All of this is its gift to us." Timu nods with equal admiration. "Indeed, this is all the sacred tree's blessing. This winter we'll never have to worry about going hungry again." Uncle Tai, with a suggestion. "Uncle Tai, I think we should clear more land and plant even more seeds." Timu nods. "Agreed. But before that, there's something important we need to do first. Offer tribute to the sacred tree." Showa slaps his forehead in embarrassment. "Of course, Uncle Tai is right. We should make an offering to the sacred tree." Then Showa says abruptly, "Uncle Tai, I think sacred tree isn't quite the right title." Timu's expression drops and he stares at Showa in anger. "What are you saying, you little brat?" Showa quickly explains. "Don't misunderstand, Uncle Tai. I mean, it doesn't sound grand enough. It doesn't fully capture how great the sacred tree truly is." "Not grand enough?" Timu thinks to himself, "Isn't sacred tree already impressive? What word could possibly capture its greatness better?" "Alright then, what do you suggest? You'd better have something to say, or I'll deal with you myself." Showa quietly hunches his shoulders. He can tell Timu is genuinely annoyed, but steels himself and presses on. "Uncle Tai, when I was studying with the sacred tree, I once heard it use a word. I think it's perfect." "What word?" "God." Timu repeats it. "These primitive people haven't created this word yet, so I used the pronunciation from my original language. In other words, it sounds exactly like the Chinese character Shen." Showa nods. "That's the one. God. The sacred tree once said that a god is supreme and all-powerful. I think the sacred tree deserves to be called that." Timu nods without hesitation. "From this day forward, I will call the sacred tree God." The two agree to announce this to the entire clan at the upcoming ceremony. Timu leads the clan in preparing for the ceremony, intending to offer me a generous tribute this time. He takes his people out and hunts a wild boar first. When they return, he also has some of the newly harvested crops set aside as an offering. When everything is ready, Tiamu leads the entire clan before me and lays out a generous spread of offerings at the base of my trunk. The Wood Clan never takes their offerings back after a ceremony, and this time, Tiamu has placed an entire wild boar before me, making clear just how much the ceremony means to him. Tiamu leads the clan in worship. After the harvest, the Wood Clan knows that everything they've gained came from what I taught them. There's no longer a single person in the clan who harbors doubt. Nearly every one of them has become a sincere and devoted follower. In this one ceremony, I receive as much prayer energy as several previous rituals combined. The surge of it floods through me, and I feel it deeply. When the ceremony ends, Tiamu announces to the clan, "From this day forward, we shall call the sacred tree God, the one and only God of the Wood Clan." I'm caught off guard for a moment. Hearing that familiar word, I quickly figure out that Showa must have had something to do with this. In truth, Showa had wanted to call me that for a while, but I'd stopped him before. I didn't think I was anywhere near deserving that title yet. But with Tiamu leading the announcement this time, I know there's little point in objecting. Even if I insisted they stop, they'd just come up with something else. I think it over and let it go. Though just God on its own doesn't sit quite right with me. In that case, call me the wood god. The crowd erupts with joy at hearing the sacred trees speak and agree. Tiamu immediately leads the whole clan in a chant. The wood god. The wood god. And from that day on, I have a new name. With farming now established, the wood clan never has to worry about food shortages again. Over time, I also use my abilities to help them develop higher yielding crops. With prayer energy to assist the process, it takes me a few years to cultivate a set of fast-growing, high-yield varieties. The wood clan no longer relies on hunting to survive. Farming has become their primary way of life. Beyond that, I have them capture wild animals and begin taming them, working toward establishing livestock. 5 years later, another small clan joins the wood clan. The population has now grown to 230. It has grown into a sizable settlement by any measure. With more believers comes more prayer energy. The amount I've accumulated has grown until it's enough to fill my entire body. On a whim, I direct all of it inward, letting it merge into my trunk. I'd always just been storing it before, never pouring it back into myself. The moment the massive surge of prayer energy flows into my body, something changes. I feel myself beginning to grow again. My body had stopped growing roughly 100 years ago and showed no signs of continuing. Yet this single attempt today has set it growing once more. My trunk swells outward, the roots beneath me lengthen and thicken, and the branches above begin to reach higher. The tree surges upward, climbing from 50 meters up and up, until it reaches 100 meters and finally stops. My form is now as vast as a mountain. My trunk has grown so wide that it would take 7 or 8 people holding hands to encircle it. All of this happens within a matter of minutes, no more than a quarter of an hour. My growth shakes the entire settlement. The wood clan pours out of their homes and looks up to see me rising at breathtaking speed. Every single person is frozen in awe, staring at something that exceeds anything they could have imagined. Tiamu sees the transformation and sprints to the base of my trunk, overwhelmed with emotion. The moment I reach 100 meters, Tiamu suddenly feels a surge of new power inside himself, and it bursts out before he can stop it. With a thunderous roar, a massive burst of green light erupts from Tiamu's body. Behind him, the great tree silhouette formed from green light slowly rises higher, as though it too is growing. Though I've grown, my senses are as sharp as ever. I feel Tiamu's change at the base of my trunk immediately. I shift my attention to him, and within a few moments I understand exactly what has happened. Tiamu's bloodroot power shares the same origin as my own body. I could always sense the bond between us before, like feeling the very tip of one of my branches, but now that sensation is stronger than it has ever been. My growth has also strengthened the bloodroot power within Tiamu, which is why it surged out of him beyond his control. The silhouette behind Tiamu doesn't rise for long. Within a few minutes he regains control of the power inside him, though his mind is still full of questions. The rest of the wood clan has gathered around as well. Their god has just transformed before their eyes. Of course, they can't simply look away. There is no need for alarm. This is simply my natural growth. Everyone relaxes at my words. If the wood god says there's nothing to worry about, then there's nothing to worry about. The clan bows toward me and returns to their daily tasks. Only Tiamu remains beneath the tree. He tilts his head up. Wood god, just now I felt the power inside me grow stronger. Am I right? You are. The bloodroot power within you has indeed grown stronger. Tiamu raises his hand and looks at it, then clenches his fist to feel the difference. He looks up again. Wood god, can you bestow this kind of power on others? Do you want more for yourself? Tiamu shakes his head. Wood god, I'm asking for the other clan members. Right now I'm the only one who has this power. I hope the rest of the clan can have it too. I don't give him an answer. I'm actually turning a question over in my own mind. Do primitive humans have their own bloodroot power? The past several years I've been busy teaching the wood clan farming and animal husbandry. I've never found the time to look into it. Tiamu, go for now. When the time is right, I will grant the power. Tiamu nods and takes his leave. After he goes, I turn my attention inward. If Tiamu received his bloodroot power from me, then do I have my own? I begin investigating, though I know an answer won't come quickly. My growth to 100 meters has been noticed not only by the wood clan. Far away on a mountain, a small group of people is hidden in the forest, preparing to hunt a deer. One of them happens to glance toward the horizon, and immediately spots an impossibly tall tree in the distance. Its canopy so dense and towering it looks like a green mountain. He quickly taps the person beside him on the shoulder, wanting confirmation. Is what he's seeing real, or is he seeing things? The other person swats his hand away. Quiet! Look over there. Is that a tree on the horizon? What tree? You're imagining things. There are trees everywhere. What are you talking about? Even as he says it, he looks up, and immediately sees it too. What is that? It wasn't there when we came this way. We're going back. We need to tell the chieftain. The group abandons the hunt. One of them whistles into the forest, and soon, venomous snakes of all sizes, their scales of vivid green, come slithering out from every direction. The people catch them on their arms without a second thought, and not one snake strikes. They head quickly down the mountain, glancing back repeatedly at the distant tree to make sure they aren't imagining it. By the time they reach the midway point of the mountain, the tree disappears behind the ridge. Afraid the tree might vanish, they exchange glances and scramble back up a little, and when they confirm it's still there, they finally breathe easy and run for their settlement.